This is Beyond Waking Realm, and today I want to talk about a man who didn't believe he was a villain because he believed he was chosen. Zachary Comstock, the prophet of BioShock Infinite, isn't just a tyrant in a floating city. He's something far more unsettling. He's a man who mistook certainty for righteousness and used faith to escape responsibility. This isn't a recap of BioShock Infinite. This is a reflection on power, prophecy, and what happens when belief becomes a shield against guilt. Because Comstock didn't build Columbia to save humanity. He built it to justify himself. Before Zachary Comstock was a prophet, he was a man who broke. A man burdened by regret. A man haunted by violence. A man desperate to believe that what he had done and who he had been could somehow be washed away. Comstock's story begins with a desire that feels familiar, the desire to start over. But instead of confronting his past, Comstock looks upward, toward faith, toward certainty, toward a version of God that speaks only in absolutes. He doesn't seek forgiveness, he seeks permission. And when belief offers him a vision, not of accountability, but of destiny, Comstock takes it without question. Not because it frees him, but because it removes doubt. Columbia isn't just a city in the sky. It's a monument to Comstock's certainty. Every banner, every hymn, every celebration of American exceptionalism exists to reinforce one idea: that Comstock is right, that his vision is inevitable, that his rule is ordained. Columbia doesn't tolerate questions, because questions threatens prophecy. What Comstock builds isn't faith, it's a closed system. A world where dissent becomes sin, where difference becomes corruption, where violence becomes purification. And the most dangerous part, Comstock believes every word of it. He doesn't see himself as cruel. He sees himself as necessary. Comstock's greatest weapon isn't force. It's narrative. He frames his actions not as choice, but as destiny. Every atrocity becomes unavoidable. Every victim becomes collateral in a divine plan. And this is where Comstock becomes truly frightening. Because if everything is predetermined, then no one is responsible. Not the prophet, not the soldiers, not the system, only fate. Comstock doesn't use faith to guide people. He uses it to absolve himself. Elizabeth is not Comstock's miracle. She's his insurance policy. Where Booker represents uncertainty, Elizabeth represents control. Her power terrifies Comstock, not because it threatens him, but because it proves something he can't accept: that the future is not fixed. Elizabeth reveals the truth Comstock has spent his life running from: that destiny isn't divine, it's manufactured. And once that illusion breaks, Comstock's authority collapses. Because it was never built on truth, only belief. Zachary Comstock isn't damned because he was wrong. He's damned because he refused to doubt. He never asked whether his vision was just. He never questioned whether his certainty caused harm. He chose prophecy over humility, control over compassion, destiny over responsibility. And in doing so, he became the very thing he claimed to oppose: a man who used power to escape guilt. Comstock matters because he represents a truth that extends beyond Columbia. That belief without accountability becomes tyranny. That certainty, when left unchallenged, will always find someone to sacrifice. And that the most dangerous leaders aren't the ones who know they're wrong, but the ones who believe they're chosen. If this reflection resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, especially how you interpret Comstock, faith, and control in BioShock Infinite. And if you're enjoying these narrative dives, consider sticking around. Here we explore stories not just as games, but as mirrors. Thank you for spending this time with me.